my God, I'm doing good. This is one of those ones that I was anticipating the
We
conversation.
finally got there.
We got this.
Yay.
Oh my goodness. Yes. Girl, I tell you what, it's so funny. Anyone who listens to the Proven Not Perfect podcast, they have probably heard more than one time that I go to yoga and I pick up a friend. It's
So you're saying you pick up not just me.
apparently this is what I do. I go
You're
to
a pickup
yoga and
artist.
I pick up friends, right? And so I don't
Well,
know.
I feel
It's
lucky.
pretty cool. So that's actually one of the things about community building that I think, just encourages new relationships and friendships. So I want y'all to know that we have a great conversation that it's been in the making here. So my dear friend Erin did not see the Barbie movie
I'm a bit late to the party.
before Thursday, right? Was it Thursday? And we of course saw each other in yoga and realized that she hadn't seen the Barbie movie. I had seen it with my niece and my mom. And I was like, you got to see it. And then we got to talk about it. Why do I want to talk about this movie with Erin? Well, I'm going to tell you why, and she's going to tell you more. Erin, I love to brag on my friends. If you listen to this podcast, I call it my Village of All Stars. So yes, for everybody, she's in it. Erin Mullaney is in my Village of All Stars, and she brings just such a wonderful background and history and experience in the super chic posh world of fashion, but on top of that, focused on the creative end of things, brand, creative, and marketing. And so I don't want to do any disjustice to your story, girlfriend. So tell
the intro.
tell the people a little bit about Erin.
So yes, I'm not a great self-promoter, as you know, but
none of us are, but that's why we're making you do it.
I need you to do it. So in a nutshell, I was a buyer for 15, 20 years of my beginning of my career. So I'm American, but I've lived in England longer than I've lived in America. So I've just moved to Naples about a year ago from London.
It's the accent.
Yeah, which kind of comes and goes now. So I'd taken my background, which is buying, merchandising, and creative brand development, and starting sort of a personal shopping and events-based business here in Naples as well. So watch this space. The Naples Collective is our Instagram if you want to go and follow us. But yeah, prior to that, I really spent a lot of my sort of executive career ladder climbing years, I suppose, as a buyer for Selfridges, for Harrods, for Browns.
Wow.
And director at Browns for about 5 years when Mrs. Burstein was still there before they sold it to Farfetch.
Wow.
So the glory days of Browns. And then
these are iconic places. Yes. For those
yes.
of us who have spent any time privileged, in Europe for sure, but anywhere in the world, like these are
very well-known shopping destinations. Yeah, for sure. And obviously, to get paid as a 20, 30 something person to shop for a living was just like beyond my dream, my wildest dream, right? Yeah. But as I guess what people don't realize about buying is that there's actually a business strategy side of it as well. So I have a background as a strategy consultant with Accenture. That's how I started my career. Wow. So there's always been a numbers merchandising side to what I do. And I really, really love that. And I'm a bit of a spreadsheet geek as well. So I kind of have that weird combination of creative, fashion, aesthetic. I have an instinct as a buyer. I know what the trends are going to be. I know how to predict trends, but I also know how to make them into a commercial reality and plan the numbers side of things. So I suppose that's what makes me unique, I guess.
Wow, that's so cool.
But yeah.
And I don't even think we've scratched the surface of some of the brands and fashion houses.
Yeah.
We haven't.
I forgot about the Tom Ford.
I mean, seriously, drip. Seriously.
Hunter, that beautiful, iconic British Wellington boot brand, Hunter. I was the global head of merchandising for both of those.
You, girl.
Wonderful experience. Some more than others, but I learned from both. And then after doing stints in-house working for these big corporations, I decided to start a brand consultancy. So that was about 7 or 8 years ago. And my goal with that was to help small to medium-sized independent brands who were struggling to get, they didn't have the budget to bring someone like me on board as a C-suite executive. So I thought to myself, well, why don't I just use my knowledge, my experience, and my network to help these guys to get their brands, you know, going and get them to market essentially. So I love working with the smaller independent brands. I love slow fashion. I'm a big, big champion of sustainability and slow fashion now. I'm doing a lot of research on the side on, you know, ways to make your company a sustainable company from start to finish. So that's my current passion.
So Erin, we honestly have to slow walk it a little bit, because you say a term, slow fashion. And one of the things that the masses have been sort of rallied around is fast fashion, right?
Mm-hmm.
And those stores, I would imagine, are like the H&Ms of the world and the Zaras of the world, where it's fashion, it's quick, it's quick, it's quick. When we talk about slow fashion, tell us a little bit about that. What does that really mean? Is that iconic classic goes across, spans across? Does that mean you don't refresh your closet? I suppose it doesn't mean that, but tell us a little bit.
So yeah, it's a kind of a newish term, slow fashion. And you know, the big culprits, like you mentioned a few of them, they're doing a lot of greenwashing at the moment, the H&Ms and the Zaras, trying to convince you that they're going down the sustainable eco route, but they're not. But Shein is another big one, SHEIN. They're terrible culprits, using AI for copying people's designs and turning them out really quickly. And it's just an awful company. So please don't shop there.
I like how to do the snaps, because I love the fierceness of you to be like, yeah, I'm calling this out.
Please don't. Yeah. And I have this a lot from friends, you know, they think they're doing a good thing by shopping, like, let's say, the eco sustainable line at H&M. And they're like, well, this is all I can afford. So how else do I shop sustainably? Right. Well, it is doing this slow fashion thing. Now, as with everything that is good for you and organic and all these terms, it annoyingly costs more, usually. So what I always say to people is, you could buy 5 things every season from an H&M, or you could buy this one really beautiful coat from a slow fashion brand or dress that you love, that is timeless. It's going to last longer. It's going to biodegrade over time. It's not going to be stuck in some, you know, horrible pile waiting to be burnt, essentially. So I just always think, like, buy smarter, buy less, buy smarter. And slow fashion brands, they only make to order, essentially. So they make very limited quantities. When it's gone, and then they move on. You know, they don't make in bulk to a customer that they don't know. They know their customer very well. They know what's going to work for that woman every season, you know. So
Erin, isn't that better from an overall investment standpoint? You know, you are putting these brands in a position to actually have unique pieces that can appreciate over time. The you know, the business geek in me feels like, why wouldn't we want that?
Well, I think of we're not even talking about Barbie yet. I love it.
I love it. Oh, that's happening, y'all. Oh, that's happening. We're going to talk about Barbie, but before we get to Barbie, you need to know that you're not just talking to a bunch of sort of
yes, exactly. We know what we're talking
fanatics
about in our fields. So I always tell people, you know, the way I shop is I curate my closet. So I always think of shopping as collecting things, you know. So instead of just going out and buying a throwaway dress for a meeting that you need, you know, black dress for, go and try and find the best black dress at, you know, the price that you can afford, that suits your budget and your shape, but make it something that you can wear for 5 years, not just for one season, you know. I think that this is why I love slow fashion, because it's not seasonal anymore. They're getting rid of all the spring, summer, autumn, winter resort stuff, and it's now becoming, you know, just I think wardrobe should be timeless. They should be built upon and layered upon, and they
should fit your personality.
Oh, definitely. And obviously our personality changes dramatically. It can change over the, you know, course of 5 to 10 years. So we need to constantly be getting rid of stuff in order to bring in new things. So that's my other big thing, is the sort of circularity of the closet, you know, pass it on, give it away, have a swap with your friends, whatever it is. But my whole thing is 1 in, 1 out. You cannot buy more than whatever you get rid of. So in England, there's this big thing, and it's 5, I think it's called the magic number 5. So you're only allowed to buy 5 things a year, and you have to get rid of, let's say, double that, essentially. So you're constantly culling your wardrobe, and you're buying things in a very considered way.
I love that.
Yeah. Honestly, which is one of my issues with Barbie, the movie. We'll get onto that. I'll tell you why I have an issue with it.
Yes. All right, we're going to get on to that. Before we do, though, I want to ask you this. When you think about the Naples Collective, And because I don't want to brush over this new business vision and idea that you have. What do you think? What do you think the real opportunity to bring such a concept, such a business to South Florida, in particular Naples? And quite frankly, I know you as a businesswoman, you're driven. So the vision is not that it starts and stops here. The vision is that it starts, period. And you and I've talked a lot about that, right? Let's unleash ourselves on the end. Let's just start and let the whatever take place on whatever idea we're building to. Tell us a little bit about that, because I think it's important.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you. So the idea was essentially, I mean, it's a little bit like the Avon ladies back in the day. That's kind of how I started with the idea, is like, okay, let's take, I have, like I said, I work with a lot of independent brands. They need a platform. They don't necessarily have the Net-a-Porters or the Saks Fifth Avenues in their pocket yet, because they're not big enough and they actually don't have the cash flow to work with those big stores most of the time. So I wanted to take this group of really special independent brands and introduce them to my friends, my family, you know, other moms, etc. here in Naples. I love connecting people. I love connecting brands with customers and customers discovering new brands. So that's kind of my passion. So I thought, how can I do this? And then I thought about, you know, how Instagram and social have all these ambassadors now. So how can we create a really strong network of women who are all ambassadors for the Naples Collective? So let's say you want to host an event at your house or at your, I don't know, local club or with your sorority sisters or whatever it is. And you come to me and you say, look, I've got this group of 10 or 15 women. These are the kind of things we're interested in. Can you go off and curate a couple of cool brands for us that maybe we can't get here in Naples, that are not at Saks, they're not at Mercer's, they're not at wherever the local stores are. And then I go off, and that's my passion, is to go off and find cool things. And then we have, you know, a couple of events a season during season, and it's flexible. Obviously, I'm a mom of 2 young kids. So that was also part of my plan, was to have something flexible that I could do in my time while they're at school. So yeah, so far we've done 5 events here, 2 or 3 in people's homes, and then 2 really big ones at Gray Oaks and another club called the Point Siena Club. And they both, all of them went really well. So we're looking to ramp up and do a couple of big events pre-Christmas, and then again in March, February, March, probably.
I love it.
Watch this space. Yeah. Follow us on Instagram.
You got to follow the Naples Collective. I hope to see you at one of the events. You know, she's amazing, and her curation, her eye is absolutely brilliant. So I can't say that enough. All right. So girlfriend, so here we are at yoga talking about, did you see Barbie movie?
I know. And I knew I had to go see it, because it's one of those cultural moments that you can't let it just pass you by and be like, I can't have the conversation, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And it's a conversation. So I am going to tell you this. When I saw the movie.
Yeah, because you've seen it twice now. So I'm curious to hear.
I've seen it twice. The first time, I'll tell you this. I showed up, I have to be honest, with superficial, low expectations about what this movie would be about. I was seeing all the splash of pink and all the stuff. The most risque thing I actually saw might have been Nicki Minaj's video, but that, you know, I was like, that's probably just a song. I was like, you know, and I'll also be honest, as a Black woman who was lukewarm growing up about understanding the full content of Barbie and Barbie Land, I just wasn't sure if this was going to speak to me, you know? In fact, I shared with you that my mom did an excellent job of bringing forward Chrissy, what I think her name is Chrissy. And that was my Barbie doll, right?
Yeah.
And then it was funny because she anchored me on Chrissy, and then Chrissy had all these friends, Skipper and Barbie, and blah, 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 which is hilarious because I give her credit for turning that story upside down for her.
For your mom, right? Yeah.
But yes.
That is awesome.
So with that being said, I wasn't sure. So I go see this with my niece and my mom, coincidentally, and I'm fully prepared to have this story with my niece on the back end, making sure that, you know, I built up whatever may have been destroyed in the process. And surprisingly enough, they kind of tried to go there on a couple topics. Like, seriously, go there, right? Like, the fact that I saw a Black president on Barbie, what?
Yeah, Issa Rae, right? She was amazing.
Issa Rae, yes, who I'm just a fan of her anyway.
Yeah, that's incredible.
In fact, I have to double click on that because I actually thought she did a really good job, because she did not overplay the role. She
Yeah.
played the role, and you almost, if you didn't know Issa Rae, I don't feel like that role told you anything about the Issa Rae that we know outside
Yeah.
of that movie, which to me demonstrated her range as a
Yeah.
talented actress. So that's just my double click on Issa Rae. But they definitely started to bring out, you know, the female movement,
Yeah.
really over indexed on men. And I
Yeah.
saw it the first time and I was like, wow. Okay, that was my first impression. So you tell me yours.
I'm also curious to hear about the different generational interpretations with
Yep.
your niece and your mom. What was their take versus your take? Like, what did you all agree on stuff, or were you
Yes. So great question. My mom and my niece, we all three left saying, oh, that was good.
better than expected?
Better than expected, all of us. I think my mother was looking at it from more of a nostalgic viewpoint
Yeah.
of having raised daughters who are now women with kids of their own at this point. And so I think for her, it was a peek into the nostalgia
Yeah.
around the time frame, right? And so she thought it was good, in that it, you know, gave a peek into nostalgia. I feel like
Yeah.
that's where my mom lived with it. My niece, I think she probably was more somewhere between my mom and I, right? I don't think she was overly, it was the greatest movie, because
Yeah.
there was too much at 12 that
Oh,
probably
she's
went
12.
over
Yeah.
her head, or
A lot of
just
adult references.
just
That's,
no context, right? Because she,
yeah.
you know, she didn't grow up in playing with the Barbie generation. She's
Yeah.
grown up an iPad girl, and she's a great
Yeah.
golfer and now a great volleyball player and all the things, right? And so I don't think, and her mom, you know, didn't push dolls. Maybe like generationally, Gen X,
Yeah.
dolls were just a part of our backdrop. Cabbage Patch Kid to Baby
100%.
Alive,
Yeah.
right? You pick it, and Barbie somewhere in the middle. So I think there definitely was a message depending on what generation you were coming from.
Yeah.
I think where my mom did land, though, is that she did appreciate that they were trying to make some bold statements, around where women were, when dolls became an issue,
Yeah.
and how, you know, they silently acquired their master's degrees alongside being a mom and a wife,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Because that was the permission, right? As long as you could do it all, then you could do it
Yeah.
all. I think they quintessentially coined that. So yeah, so that was kind of the take from them.
That's really interesting, especially about your niece, because when I was looking at some of the stats on, because I'm very, as you know, I'm a numbers person. So I was like looking at Barbie by the numbers. And so I think we probably all know this now, but it's surpassed the 1.2 billion mark worldwide now, which is the biggest grossing movie for Warner Brothers ever, beating out Dark Knight, and what Batman Begins, I think. 65% of all ticket holders are female, which is probably lower than I was estimating.
Yeah.
81% of those were younger than 35. I think that's interesting, because I would say, I would agree with you. I would say in the
Wow.
last 10 years,
Yeah.
Barbie has been fairly irrelevant.
Yeah.
Like, I can't remember.
81%. 81%.
81% were
That
younger than
is
35.
such a big number.
But what, you know what that tells me is that the marketing and the social media push
Yeah.
beforehand, before the market, they did such a genius job, as we all know, with their $150 million marketing budget.
Yes. Yes.
That they hit all of the what is that? It's not millennials.
Gen Z.
Yeah.
Gen Z.
Yeah, Gen Z. So
And millennial. I think millennial would be,
younger than 35. Yeah, they
Yep.
hit both. But that's all on social media, right? So all the clever things they did, 100+ Barbie collaborations, brand and product collaborations, 2,000 registered copyright Barbie copyrighted names. So that would be whether you're using Barbie for your paint color, Barbie for a rug or a carpet or whatever it was, anything that was registered with the Barbie name in the last 2 years, 2,000+.
Wow.
You know, it's just crazy. And some of the collaborations, I just have to run through them because they were hilarious. There's so many collaborations.
Let's hear it.
We've
Let's hear
got
it.
electric pink Barbie toothbrushes, Barbie handbags by Balmain, which are 3,000 plus, Barbie and Ken t-shirts at the Gap. You've got Barbie pool floats at Target.
Oh my God.
Barbie pink Birkenstocks, which they're featured in the movie.
Wow. Yes, I saw them. Yep.
Probably the only thing I would buy.
Yeah.
Microsoft has done an Xbox that is in a Barbie dream house. That's like an Xbox in the dream house with 5 different Barbie remote controls that you can choose.
Wow.
Oh my God. Burger King has a Barbie burger with like pink, disgusting. Oh, it's so
That
gross.
sounds so nasty.
Barbie Crocs, obviously.
Yeah.
Barbie skates were the ones they wore in the movie. You can buy them from Impala skates.
Crazy. By the way, I owned those when I was a little girl. I'm sure I did.
Fabulous. I love them.
Yeah.
Funnily enough, my daughter asked me to learn how to roller skate yesterday. So skating is still
so
cool.
let's do that. Cause I kid you not. I loved, you go back to your happy time as a kid. My favorite birthday was when I was 11, and under the tree were these white roller skates, pink wheels.
Yeah, same.
Wait,
from the same generation.
There's one more thing. There was a Walkman.
Oh yeah.
Yellow Walkman.
I love my Walkman.
Could not tell me I was not a super.
What a great Christmas.
Great Christmas.
I know, right?
Okay, so yes, sign me up for the roller skating.
And the Barbie dream house. I did get a Barbie dream house. Did you get one?
I did get a Barbie dream house. Not at 11. I think I was maybe a little bit younger when I got the Barbie.
Yeah, me too.
But tell me, so okay, with all of those stats, what I want to understand, and I don't know this, Mattel. So was this largely Mattel driven?
Yeah.
It was.
It was genius. And the guy who was the CEO of Mattel has just now left and gone to be the CEO of Gap. So they had done a big collaboration together. And he has now been poached by the Gap to do a very similar thing to revive the Gap because it's really failing at the moment. It's not doing well at all. So he was the genius behind all this. And it was going on for almost 2 years prior to the launch of the film. Okay. So all these brand partnerships, I mean, from a fashion merchandising point of view, you'll have to know that these take time to plan. Okay. You know, it takes at least sometimes 6 to 12 months to get a product to market, maybe even more in some cases. If you're someone like, you know, a shoe company like Superga Trainers or Birkenstock, it takes. So
was he able to get the supply chain accelerated, or? So
he worked with each of these brands directly, and the brand either got a flat licensing fee, like a one-off payment to use the Barbie logo, or they got 5 to 15% of total sales generated off the back of the collaboration. Wow. So I would love to know what the total number is for all Barbie related products. I couldn't find it. So how much sales they've taken. But what upsets me about all this is, going back to my former statement, is the sustainability issues, right? So all of this, and actually weirdly, my husband brought it up when we were having a chat earlier. He was like, we are going to flood the market with all these horrible, disgusting pink plastic products. Yeah. And then what? In a month or two, everyone's going to be over it and on to the next thing. And what's going to happen to all these products? They're going to be in landfill.
That's true.
You know?
Yeah.
So
we're going to flood the market with these products. The other thing that I think about is, all right, so what does this do to inspire this as the new approach for not only reviving the brand, but connecting the entire supply chain and partner cycle to the reemergence of a brand? Yeah. Getting back to your point, the sustainability
part was clever.
Is huge.
I think it's huge opportunity in merchandising. So it's taking, and one of the other quotes I heard that was really good was something about, everyone's going, now that Barbie is such a success, we need to make more movies about toys, nostalgic toys. And someone went, you're missing the point. We need to make more movies written and directed by women. Woo! That is the point, people. Let's listen to women.
That part.
But yeah, I think that for me, it was one of the biggest creative marketing campaigns I've seen around a movie. I mean, I think Marvel probably only rivals it. Marvel has a huge empire of products, merchandising that goes around it. But I can't remember the last time a movie this big was aimed and targeted at a female audience. Like apparently Wonder Woman was one of the, I mean, I didn't go see that, even though I Did
I
watch it when
saw
I
it.
was
It
young,
was good. It was good.
but I
Definitely
can
more
feel
sub.
the nostalgia that I feel about Barbie.
Yeah, that's right.
Really.
Different.
So yeah, I can't remember another movie that was this big of a deal.
Okay, so here's the deal. We have so much more to talk about. I want to pivot into business strategy. Then I want us to get a little bit, I think we kind of started with brand creative strategy a little bit, but I want us to get a little bit more there because I think there were some subtle nuances that were really thoughtfully crafted there too. And then I want us to touch on culture. Okay. So we clearly can't pack all of that into part one. We're going to be releasing a part two. So stay tuned for part two. That one's coming out. I definitely suggest that if you're in any way intrigued or interested in this conversation, hit us up on social. You can definitely drop me a DM at Chantrapal_proven not perfect on Instagram, or Chantrapal on Facebook, proven not perfect on Instagram, proven not perfect on Facebook. Multiple layers, multiple lanes. Definitely hit me up, because if there are some pieces in those next 3 tranches that we are going to dig into, and we're going to really get our scalpel and dig into it. As you can tell, Erin and I are so yoked, like seriously, we just go. So
we're on a level, aren't we?
This is not the podcast.
Hours.
This is not the podcast if you're trying to hear all the fluff and stuff, right? Because we meet all the way up there and we drive each other up there more, which is why iron sharpens iron, the words from the Bible. I am spending my time curating the people in my life that sharpen me, and that I can also offer a sharp edge, because that's how we all give and reach our full potential. Okay, that's enough there. Put a pin on it. Stay tuned for more. And seriously, if you're interested in how you'd like for the next part of the conversation to double click on some of the things you've been thinking about, let me know. DM me. All right. I'll see you, Erin.
Lovely to see you.
Bye, girl. Love you.
Bye.